Shalom Yasharallah. First and foremost, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth and righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers out here risking our lives to teach the word. And always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai feet when you read the scriptures. What do I need to talk to y'all about? I want to talk to y'all about Matthew 18, where it tells you, if your brother has transgressed against you, go and speak to him. One thing that I want to also urge y'all to understand, because y'all, if you know me, I'm a very literal person, right? So one thing that I wanted to impress upon y'all is, notice that it says, if your brother transgress against you. To me, that also means to make sure that he did transgress against you, because a lot of times, I'm gonna tell y'all, a lot of beefs be in your head, and I'm king of that. I'm the king of that. I always got a voice in the back of my head saying, you see the way he talked to you? You see what he said? He was trying to come at you. Literally, I have that in my mind a lot. And we got to make sure we don't fall for the trap and have frivolous conversations about transgressions that didn't actually happen. Because a lot of times those transgressions are in your head. Pause. But yeah, the truth of the matter is, a lot of times we think that you, like I said, you might have a situation where you might think that a brother transgressed against you, or you might think something evil is at play, and it's not. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's a lot simpler than what you think it is. We have to get out of the habit of being overly sensitive, because I'm king of that. I'm definitely a brother who, I don't know if the word is sensitive. I'm very big on respect, and a lot of times it might cross the fine line between sensitivity. If I think that a brother's slighting me on purpose, or kind of sending a shot my way, I may take it like, oh, you bold nigga. And a lot of times it won't even have nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? So again, when you're in this truth, you have to keep in mind that everything is not a shot against you. Everything is not, oh, let me say something slick about this brother or to this brother. Because one thing I hate is that little goofy ass sarcasm. But like I said, a lot of times I'm sitting here thinking that it's worse than what it really is. So we have to do a good job of not getting offended about something that's not against us. Because it fucks with you. And trust me, I've seen so many brothers that have a fight with another brother in their own mind, and that other brother don't even know the brother feels that way. You know what I mean? But also, if you're a brother who knows that you got somebody like that, you might want to take the time out and be proactive and say, yo, I notice you be kind of coming at me a certain way. It don't be no outright disrespect, but it be kind of like a little kind of, rude. And then maybe you could get a conversation going like, yeah, brother, I be feeling like you be some, like one time it was a brother who straight up, I ain't gonna say no names, but it was a brother who straight up was talking shit about me in front of the whole camp, but wasn't saying it was me. Right? But when I pulled him to the side later, I was like, yo, brother, you kind of were looking at me the whole time you were saying this. So I want to be upfront and approach the situation straight up. who was you saying this about? So he was like, you one of the brothers. And then he explained why he felt that I was, at fault about what he said. And we had a whole conversation and come to find out that it was nothing like he thought. Sometimes you have to have that conversation, but the premise of this video, or what I'm going into or talking about, is sometimes just you thinking before you speak, you might not be dealing with a brother who's actually transgressing against you. You might, because my era, man, we were more forward straight up than a lot of these young nigglets nowadays. A lot of these young men nowadays are not straightforward. They don't approach shit, head on. They go roundabout, they take subliminal shots. They'll circle 20 men up and just be talking to you. And everybody knows that they're talking about you, but they will never say, yeah, brother, I think you are this way, or you did that, or you said this, and I took it this way. We're not living in that generation no more. A lot of what causes issues in today's time with Israel is what's not being said. There's a song by this artist named Heather Headley, What's Not Being Said. And if you think about it, a lot of times what's not being said is it kind of fucks with you, right? Because you like I said, most people nowadays do not say how they feel. Most people nowadays hide their anger. I hide my anger in life. I don't feel that I should have to hide my anger with brothers in the truth. So I'm more prone to pulling a brother to the side and saying, hey, the way you did this, I don't really appreciate it, or I don't agree with it. And we have the conversation. And that's better than for me to walk around with a mind full of anger. So now every time a brother says something, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, this nigga talk about me. You know what I'm saying? No, I'd rather get the conversation out the way, and then we move on from there. There are ways to stay brotherly with brothers, man. We have to practice that in Israel. But, these are conversations that have to be had. Because trust me, man, I've seen situations where conversations are not had, and brothers that go and be like, yo, I love you, brother, don't love each other no more. Now you niggas is doing sit downs on each other and disrespecting each other and talk about niggas' wives when niggas' wives was the ones that fed you. You know what I'm saying? You came to my house and she cooked the whole meal for us. A lot of the problems that we got in Israel, honestly, are because of us not even filtering what's worth being talked about. You can't be that fucking sensitive that, every little thing, a brother cough, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course I'm exaggerating, but in reality, matter of fact, let me pull the scripture up, because I don't know why I'm a few minutes into the sit down and I'm realizing that I'm stationary now. Matthew 18. 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee. So it's not saying if you think your brother trespassed against you. I want you to be very specific, right? Because a lot of times we don't pay specific attention to the scriptures, right? If thy brother shall so first off, it's a brother that's actually done something against you. It's not a brother who was speaking and you took something he said as personal. You know what I'm saying? Because that is something brothers got to stop doing, being all general and shit. Yeah, brothers be doing this, brother, but you specifically talking about one brother. Yeah, brothers be getting drunk and going to Atlantic City and doing concerts. You know what I'm saying? There's one brother that do that y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Oh, brothers be having the best fucking apartment, a mansion of an apartment. Like, there's only one brother that has that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm joking, but on a serious note, though, like, brothers be speaking very general about specific situations. We got to stop that too. You know, so if your brother trespass against you, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. So you notice it doesn't say go to YouTube. Nowhere in this entire process is YouTube a thing. It says, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone, and if he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. So how many of you actually take the time out to speak to the brother who has done something against you? Because nowadays motherfuckers run to YouTube and I didn't even do nothing to you. But if he will not hear thee, which is possible, maybe you're the one bugging, then take with thee one or two more. So now it's a total of potentially 4 brothers in this situation. 1 or 2 more, right? So it's you and 2 brothers speaking to the one brother, right? It says that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established. So right here it says 1 or 2 more. Now what's the 2 or 3? The 2 or 3 is you. So now you're sitting here stating your case like, brother, when you, perfect example, brother that's no longer doing the work but knows the truth. I don't know, he's not doing shit with it, right? I signed for him to get a car, right? Years ago. This was like 15 years ago or better. Actually more than 15 years ago. And he wound up getting repossessed, and that came on my record. Pause. Now, if I were to speak to him and say, brother, you know, this is how it affected me, and if he get dismissive and say, man, fuck that, you knew who you was helping get a car, you knew my credit was bad, you know I'm bad with money or whatever, then, you know, he will not hear us. So now I need 2 other niggas or men or brothers to record mentally what he's saying, so we know I ain't the one bugging. He didn't do that, by the way, but I'm just saying to give you an example, hypothetical. Then take with that word may be established, right? Verse 3, and if he shall neglect to hear them, if the other brothers say, yo, brother, you was wrong, you shouldn't have did that. Oh man, fuck that. You know, he should have knew that this was going to happen. Okay. But if he neglect to hear the church, if he shall neglect to hear them, then tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. Nowhere does it say do videos about him, talk shit about him, or disrespect him. It says let him be unto thee. It doesn't even say put him out the church. You niggas out here making up your own extra shit. It doesn't say that he's going to be a heathen man and a publican to the whole church. It means you just stay the fuck away from him. Now, if it's to the extent of my example, yeah, now I would say, and also, honestly, with the 2 or 3 witnesses, what I would also say is it really might be a situation where the church might have to put him out. You know, because then there's other scriptures that, you know, coupled with this, you may have to put him out. But this scripture itself does not say put him out the church. This scripture just says, yo, now you know what your limitations are with this nigga. You know, don't be around this nigga. Let him be unto you as a heathen man and a publican. You know, but it all starts with if thy brother shall trespass against thee. So again, going back to the original point that I'm making in this video, don't even talk to a brother until you man, fuck this nigga. Don't even talk to a brother until you know for a fact that he has actually committed a trespass. Right? But with that, I'm going to say shalom.